The deep legacy of French colonialism, a global journey. Ever wondered how French colonialism shaped our world? Let's dive deep into a story spanning centuries and continents. It all began in the 16th century when France set sail to establish colonies in the Americas, from Canada's vast forests to the islands of the Caribbean. You might not know this, but the fur trade was a goldmine for France in North America, while in the Caribbean, plantations thrived on sugar and coffee, sadly, fueled by enslaved Africans. Fast forward to the 19th century, and Napoleon Bonaparte's reign expanded French influence across Europe, setting the stage for a massive colonial empire. After Napoleon's fall, France doubled down on colonization in Africa, Southeast Asia, and the Pacific, chasing resources and spreading French culture. Ever heard of the mission civilisatrice? That was France's way of saying, "We're here to civilize," but often it masked harsh exploitation and control. North Africa, including Algeria, Tunisia, and Morocco, became key territories, but colonization meant oppression and violent clashes, like the brutal Algerian War for Independence. In West and Central Africa, French colonies erupted with forced labor and resource extraction. Traditional societies were pushed aside to fuel French industries. Over in Southeast Asia, French Indochina exploited rice and rubber, imposing language and culture, while local resistance steadily grew, eventually erupting into war. Down to the Caribbean and Indian Ocean islands, French colonies thrived on sugar plantations and slave labor, a bitter legacy that still echoes today. World Wars I and II drained France's power, while nationalist movements in colonies ignited dreams of freedom and self-rule. The 1950s and 60s saw waves of independence. Tunisia, Morocco, and Algeria broke free, though often through brutal wars that left lasting scars. Vietnam's First Indochina War ended French colonialism in Southeast Asia, but set the stage for even bigger conflicts. Not all stories ended nicely. The Haitian Revolution shattered French control but also left a legacy of struggle and resilience. Unfortunately, French rule in Africa also brought forced labor, massacres, and deep trauma that generations still feel today. Post-colonial ties remain complex. The Francophonie binds many nations through language and culture, but some see it as a new form of control. Even today, former colonies face political instability and French military interventions, especially in West and Central Africa. Back in France, immigrants from former colonies fuel vibrant communities but also face social and economic challenges, a legacy of colonialism's complex web. So, what's the takeaway? French colonialism gave us language and culture, but also scars that run deep through societies and histories. Understanding this history helps you see how past empires shape current world politics, social struggles, and cultural identities. The borders drawn by French colonizers often ignored ethnic lines, sparking conflicts that persist in places like the Sahel region. Racial and social inequalities planted during colonial rule still affect former colonies, divisions that aren't easy to erase overnight. Let's remember the human cost. Millions suffered or died in wars, revolts, and forced labor. Their stories must never be forgotten. Imagine the ripple effect. The Haitian Revolution inspired slave uprisings worldwide and reshaped colonial power forever. In Vietnam, the fall of French rule didn't mean peace. It sparked a long, tragic war that caught global powers in its grip. French colonialism story is complex, a blend of cultural exchange, exploitation, resistance, and resilience. But you don't have to be a history buff to feel its echoes. From politics to language, the past lives on today. Curious to learn more? Dig into the stories behind every monument, every border, every culture shaped by this vast empire. And remember, history isn't just about dates and battles, it's about people, their struggles, dreams, and legacies. If this took you on a journey, hit like, share your thoughts, and explore more stories that shaped our world.